And next up at UFC Sacramento, we've got Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Shamil Gaziev. And this is a very close fight, in my opinion, and one that could go either way. The odds do reflect that in this matchup, with Kennedy Nzechukwu as the slight plus money underdog. And in his last bout against Marcus Buchecha, he demonstrated an ability not only to defend takedowns, but also to stay composed when you've got a very dangerous grappler in the heat of not only taking you down, but being in dominant positions. And I think Kennedy did a good job of not only not giving up his back, but also staying composed and landing the big shots, not only on the feet, but on the ground. And I do think his heavyweight move, from 205 to heavyweight was long overdue. He's a very big, stocky guy with an 83-inch reach. And I do think that he was probably draining himself a little bit too much in order to get to 205. And I think in a lot of matchups, the one real narrative that I've had, or the dislike that I've had for Kennedy Nzechukwu, is his lack of aggression. I think at times, he can be dictated to, where people come in and look to implement their game plan as opposed to him implementing his. And I think when you look at Shamil Gaziev, he likes to be a bully. He likes to be able to stand in front of you, walk you down, get you in the clinch, make the fight dirty, and land really big shots in the pocket. Gaziev, he is a guy that carries a ton of power. Obviously out of Bahrain, he trains over in Dagestan at times as well, and he is known for his grappling and wrestling, but he does carry some real pop. And the two real narratives or negatives around Gaziev is the fact that he lacks cardio, and at times he can be a little bit reckless when entering the pocket. And I do think that got exposed in his last fight against Brando Perisic, but I do think Perisic is kind of one of these guys in the heavyweight division that's the next big thing. So I did pick Perisic in a big way in that matchup against Gaziev, but I do think he's too athletic and too kind of fast and crisp on the feet for a guy like Shamil Gaziev. I think Gaziev here is going to make this fight dirty. I think he's going to be able to plant his feet and bully Kennedy Nzechukwu up against the fence, getting in the clinch, beating him up with elbows, knees to the body, that tie clinch, just controlling him up against the fence. And when they're out at space, I think that Gaziev is going to do a good job of blitzing him with, 1-2 combos up to the head and then shooting in and taking him down. The only problem is that as this fight goes on, I think that game plan is going to really wear on Gaziev. At times he can be inconsistent, and I do think coming off of back-to-back losses, we're going to see a better Shamil Gaziev, but it's very difficult to tell because his cardio is not always there. And I do think Kennedy Nzechukwu is a guy that can put your lights out of a full 15 minutes. That power doesn't go anywhere, so he could be, really live for a late knockout here. But I'm going to go with Shamil Gaziev. I think he makes it a boring heavyweight fight where he just leans on him up against the fence. In the exchanges, he's going to be landing and getting the better of Kennedy early, and I think if this fight gets into the third round, we're going to see Shamil get very tired and Kennedy's going to take over, but by then it might be a little bit too late. Give me Shamil Gaziev here in a slight lean, not super confident to get this one done. Let's see who Carlos has got in this matchup.
Okay, in this one, I'm going to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu to get it done. And Gaziev, he's a tank. He's a very dangerous striker, and he's got heavy hands. He's a big body. And he's probably the more elite wrestler of the two of them, because if he goes for the takedowns, I feel that he's going to get it. And he's a very big heavyweight. And the thing is his gas tank is the one thing I can't trust, his cardio. And if he's going to stand there and throw strikes against Nzechukwu and he's got a 7-inch reach disadvantage, he's going to have an issue. It's going to take some time for him to find his range. And in that time, I feel that Nzechukwu is going to be peppering him with that jab. He's going to get the range that he needs to find. And that's going to make Gaziev force himself to go for shots and go for the takedowns. Now, I feel he's going to get it. But the problem is once he gets it, he's going to struggle to keep Nzechukwu in one spot. He's going to struggle to look for takedowns. He's going to use some ground and pound. And by round 2, he's going to be struggling he's going to be sucking wind pretty much. And that's when Nzechukwu is probably going to be able to open up on him a little bit more. Knees to the body, using his jab. I don't see it going any other way unless Gaziev gets the finish in the first round. So Kennedy Nzechukwu to get this one done.